Hello, today I will speak about marriage, or as I prefer to say, alliance. Actually, I will use both these terms, so if you don't like the term marriage, think of it as an alliance, and if you don't understand what an alliance is, think of it as a marriage. I'll begin with a story that sort of shaped my view on what marriage can be, what an alliance can be. And I was 16, 17 or so, and there was this television series running, and I was babysitting for one of my brothers. And there's this movie which is based on the Mahabharata. And there is 5 brothers, and it's Arjuna. He's shooting arrows, and it's Bhima, and he's very strong. And it's Yudhishthira, which is the wise one. And also included in these 5 brothers is Nakula and Sadeva, the twins. So one day Arjuna is out and he's part of a competition, arrow shooting competition, and he wins the prize. And the prize is the beautiful Draupadi, wonderful woman, according to the Mahabharata. So he comes home to his mother and he says, "Hey mother, look, I won!" And Arjuna's mother says, "Whatever you have won, you must share it with your brothers." But Arjuna's mother repeated, "Whatever you have won, you must share it equally with your brothers." And then Arjuna gets to tell her that he's won a woman. And we're not looking into the aspect of whether you can win another person or not. This is a story. And Arjuna's mother says, "Well, I cannot take my words back. Now you must ask your brothers if they want her as much as you do." And they want her, and they see the good sides of her, and so there she is. She's one woman with 5 men. What did I learn from this? I did learn that marriage is not necessarily the way we see it. That's not necessarily the only solution. And I think that if we look at this together, we can find many other ways to create alliances, to create marriages that functions better than the one that's been dominating the Western side of the world, the nuclear family, which is also a quite new invention. And what's bad about the nuclear family, which is father, mother, 1 or 2 children, is that by saying that is the norm, it makes everything that is outside of that, which is everything that is not a nuclear family, sort of outside of the norm, and it makes it unnormal. So if we look at alliances, or I again prefer the word alliances because it includes something like a tribe. A tribe where everybody have their different skills, their different abilities, their different tasks. Some are hunting, some are taking care of the food, some are doing the children, some are making clothes. All these different elements are part of the tribe. And also in many tribes, as far as I know, there's often a clear situation who the mother of the children is, but not necessarily who the father is. And this is also one of the origins of the word compersion, which was coined by the Kirista community in San Francisco in the beginning of the 70s, and compersion means comme père. It's based on the French word, and it means like father. So even if they did not necessarily know who was the father, they would have this role of being a sort of father or like father. And this is of course carried into the idea of polyamory, where compersion means that instead of jealousy, where you have the pain, you feel the pain of your loved one being loved or loving somebody else, you feel that pleasure or happiness rather of seeing your loved one being loved or loving somebody else. Because again, in a tribe, this is something that bonds you, making you one tribe. Now, not all tribes are like this, and I suggest you read more in Sex at Dawn about this theme. So the second step is the families, and this organization happened once you got agriculture. So this first tribe version disappeared a bit from being the normal way of being, and you were family, and you wanted to keep your fortune, you wanted to pass that on to your children. So it was rather your children rather than the tribe. It's more a question of, instead of passing on to the children, it was becoming passing on to your children. So now in our world we are having a digital world, which means we can make sort of digital tribes. So we are not having to be forced to be in one place. There's many communities. You could be part of the, let me say, the BDSM tribe, you could be part of the writers tribe, you could be part of the polyamorous tribe, and you could have your tribe, which is your the people that's close to you. And so we can be part of many tribes, and we can also create our family, our tribe, our polycule, in many different ways, more flexible than the nuclear family, which is a quite boxed in little way of being, where you have your own washing machine, your own car. Yeah. If you're looking at alternatives to couple-based marriage or couple-based alliances, you could of course marry yourself and decide, I want to stay by myself. I want to take responsibility for my life. And some people are doing that. They are in a way their own primary, and all other relationships will be secondary. So they are not planning to buy houses with somebody, or to take the responsibility for themselves, or to live with, for example, the partner that is, if they have children, they are more intent of doing things themselves. And then we have the dyadic marriage. Of course, you can change that by adding people into that marriage. So how you do that, I don't know. Well, you can add more people into the marriage you are already in, or you can enter into an existing relationship. So my wishes about this would that this would be accepted legally, and that this would also have an effect on how you inherit things, if somebody gets sick, how do you take care of the children, and so on. Basically, there's also another form of marriage which is fascinating to me, which I don't know too much about. I have never tried it in real life, but it seems that could be a good idea. And that is something that's called line marriage, and the term was coined by Robert Heinlein. If you read The Moon is a Hush Mistress, you'll find more about it there. A line marriage is a marriage consisting of a number of men and a number of women, and in which a new spouse is added every few years. We don't need to consider that it has to be just opposite sex in a line marriage. I think this would work well with same sex as well. And also asexuals would have a good place in this marriage, I think, rather than being stuck with a partner who probably wanted more sex than they wanted. So anyway, you have this number of men, number of women, same or opposite sex. I think the only thing about the number of women or number of men is that it's important if you want to have children, but I think that you will probably be able to find another way of solving that if that's important to you. So the marriage is a line extending through time, and in theory it goes forever, because as somebody's dying away there, you're adding new people in, so gradually it moves like a line. So, and this could be considered more similar to a business partnership or sort of a corporation idea, but instituted for what for what marriages or alliances are instituted for. And I mean, one way to think about that is sharing the workload. You have protection, you have of course children, and you have of course that the property is passed on within this line marriage. Of course, an element you have to look at is to enter into a relationship. You might need some time, like a trial period. And the same thing, it should be possible to leave a relationship like that. And you have a trial time for leaving. So you have trial leave, you have trial enter. But basically, how would this structure change the way you looked at marriage? If you were to recreate marriage and divorce, alliance and separation, how would you do it? Respecting that some would like to marry none, some would like to marry one, and some would like to marry multiple persons. How does marriage and divorce, alliance and separation influence our relationship or the way we think about them?